We go one more time to NHRA Funny Car Competition, this time at the 94 season opener in Pomona, and side-by-side qualifying between Ray Higley and Wyatt Radke. Radke out of shape and pays a visit to Mr. Higley in the far lane. Hello, how do you do? Higley crosses the center line after getting tagged by Radke, but there were no injuries and minimal damage to the cars. In the semifinals of the 94 Gators in Gainesville, Florida, Chuck Etchells in the far lane faced Casey Spurlock in the lane nearest the camera. At the finish, it was Spurlock winning, but no one was watching the scoreboard. All eyes were on the Kendall Dodge and Chuck Etchells, a tremendous fire. Etchells scrubbed up a lot of speed against the wall and brought it to a stop, and then set about the business of escaping the inferno. As the safety safari screeched to a halt to fight the blaze, Chuck was out of the car and safe. Credit the veteran driver's experience and the safety gear for enabling Chuck to walk away from this one. You can tell by the helmet there was lots of smoke and fire inside that car, and Chuck, I don't have to tell you, that was one of the worst ones anyone's had in a long time. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, Steve, thanks.
Breathing is usually the biggest problem in those hills.
Well, it shocked me, because it looked like we were starting to drive away from, and all of a sudden, bang. Not good.
Not good indeed. As Spurlock passes, Etchells grinds his car up along the guardrail to bring it to a stop. Blinded by smoke and fighting for breath in the furnace-like atmosphere of his cockpit, Etchells somehow finds his way through the escape hatch. Brave men, these funny car pilots. But no matter how fearless, no one would be willing to take the ride Jerry Caminito took in qualifying at the 94 Mid-South Nationals. Caminito hit the railing at nearly 280 miles an hour, cartwheeling to the ground so hard the wreckage cut our camera cable. It was suddenly very quiet at Memphis. In replay, watch the left spill plate on the rear spoiler. It comes off. The aerodynamic downforces are lost on the rear. The car turns violently to the left, cuts a tire, and drives through the metal guardrail. Jerry's shattered car continues on a gut-wrenching end-over-end tumble off the track in Memphis, plowing up the ground and planting broken pieces of his race car. Caminito stayed strapped into his seat inside the roll cage, but at the very end, exited the bottom of the race car. At 279 miles per hour, that's the fastest anyone has ever hit a stationary object and lived to tell the tale. The hole in the guardrail says it all. Miraculously, Jerry Caminito did survive his high-speed impact. He suffered 2 broken legs, however, and was medevaced from the track by helicopter. Jerry and his wife, Marion, hope to race again. Later that year at the Keystone Nationals, hard-charging Al Hoffman faced Whit Bazemore in the first round of eliminations. Nope, not Whit this time. It's Al Hoffman who takes a lesson from hydroplane racing and lifts off the racetrack. Whoa! From this ISO camera replay, Al looks like he's just floating on a cushion of air down the racecourse, which is exactly what he was doing. Only the landing wasn't exactly what you'd call cushy. Hoffman was uninjured. 1994 will be the year that 24-year-old Del Worsham would just as soon forget. Like Whit Bazemore the year before, the former NHRA Rookie of the Year spent the summer of '94 walking away. He got things started at the season opener in Pomona, exploding a tire and shattering his Oldsmobile body. He was okay. Now the hissing sound you hear in the background of that steam-looking stuff coming out of the fender wells, that is the onboard fire system still doing its job. He wasn't sure if he was on fire or not, and he wasn't taking any chances. Now, just 3 weeks later, while qualifying for the Gators, Del lit it up big time. What started as a very small blaze suddenly multiplied into this. He was able to bring the car to a safe stop and exit through the roof hatch. Notice the long snorkel on his helmet. That's something Del built himself. It connects to an emergency air supply so he can breathe in one of these deals. He'd need it again before the summer was through. In Englishtown, Worsham had a new body on his car as he came to the line in side-by-side qualifying with Casey Spurlock. Brand new car, same old problems. Dell streaked down the track like a meteor. The blazing funny car, its fiberglass body fully engulfed in flame, finally came to a stop off the end of the racetrack. The safety safari began pouring water on the fire to knock down the flames and get Worsham out of the cockpit. He needed that emergency air supply in this one. In replay, you'll see the fire start well before the finish line and grow rapidly as Dell heads down track. His parachutes are rendered useless as they're burned away in seconds by the intense oil fire. No doubt the brakes are boiling as well and not at peak efficiency. The machine almost picks up momentum, kind of like the incredible fire now burning out of control both outside and under the car. From this far end angle, Dell Worsham's funny car looks like something from a horror movie as it moves down the racetrack, burning and sizzling, spewing noxious clouds of impenetrable smoke. All the while, Dell is inside the inferno, struggling to survive in the driver's seat of this real-life hell on wheels. Worsham was treated for burns and smoke inhalation after this fire. Spent a few weeks in the hospital for some skin grafts. He's completely recovered and now driving a top fuel car on the circuit. Maybe doesn't want to sit behind that motor anymore, huh? Couldn't blame him. None of the competitors you have seen in this production would be able to beat the odds time and time again were it not for the unsung heroes of motorsports, the safety and rescue teams. These brave men and women are on hand whenever professional motor racing drivers slip into their fire suits, strap on their helmets, and face the dangers that they must overcome in search of the checkered flag. Be it on the super speedway, the liquid oval, in the dirt, or on the quarter mile, if it weren't for the safety crews, there would be no speed records, no record ETs, no victorious drivers in the winner's circle, because without safety, there would be no motorsports at all. I'm Steve Evans. So long. Until next time.